Okay, I gotta get some off my chest. I love creepy Disney stories more than anybody. I'm always making jokes, but the truth of the matter is, I love my job. I love my job more than anything. No matter how much you might complain or how much I might make funny Mickey voices, it is the best company in the world to work for. And so to that effect, since I just live tweeted a creepypasta, I'm going to tell you one of my favorite work stories. So, I work on Route 66 with Mr. Lightning McQueen. Won't say where or what I do, but I provide guest interaction. Everybody does. And one of my favorite stories, which sort of ties into our hashtag, Unforgettable Happens Here. I came upon a couple. They were sitting there, and we got to talking, and they explained that they were from Australia. And I said, wow, you guys came far. And they said, yeah, we have an annual pass. And I asked them which pass they had. They had the most expensive one. Now the distance between Australia and, Southern California is a huge one. So I was like, why would you do that? And they got really quiet, and they shared really sweet looks. And the woman said, I'm from Australia. My husband lives in the my now husband lived in the U.S. We were exchanging letters via a pen pal program, and we decided that the place to meet would be at Disneyland. And I said, oh, it's a good place to meet. And she said, yeah. So we went to Disneyland, and I agreed to meet him in front of the teacups. And as she's saying this, she reaches over for his hand, and I'm like, oh God, what happened? And she reaches for his hand, and she says, I agreed to meet him in front of the teacups, and I saw him standing there with flowers, and I burst into tears. And I said, why? And she said, I still tear up thinking about this, she said, I saw the man that I love. And I saw something, and I was so surprised because they were in color. And it dawned on me that she'd spent her whole life watching Walt Disney's program in black and white. And she hadn't believed that they were in color until she actually saw what we did in the park. Sorry, that always makes me tear up. And that was the first time they met, when she was crying over the colorful teacups. And they've been married for almost 50 years. I see people who come to the park who've been in weddings, who just got engaged, men and women, all kinds, all brought together by the love of a mouse, by the purity and the goodness that our company has to offer people. It's another good one. I had a little kid who, she came up to me, and she was so excited by, she was so excited by Elsa. Okay, she had Elsa everything. She had the Elsa shirt, she had the skirt. The only thing she didn't have was the costume. And she said, I love Elsa. This little 6-year-old girl, she says, I love Elsa because Elsa is a queen, and queens are regal and noble. And I sat down, and I was trying to explain to her that we had queens in Cars Land. We had Miss Sally and Miss Flo, and they were queens. Well, Miss Flo's a queen. Miss Sally's more of a princess. And she nodded, and she decided to go say hi to them on the ride. And when she got off the ride, she was crying. She was just trying really hard not to cry. And I said, what's wrong, honey? And she said, I lost my Sally button. Can I have another one? And I said, of course, you can cry. It's okay. Sometimes you get sad losing things, little 6-year-old. Of course she can cry. And she shook her head and looked me dead in the eye, and she said, queens don't cry. I teared up. What made me tear up even more was that she was a little African American. Anyway, there's so many, in the year that I have worked for the company, there are just so many stories. I've talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with people. I've talked about, we danced to Aretha Franklin. We talk about Walt, all the good things that Walt did, and he did a lot of really good things. I mean, there's this old parable about a king, and he really wants to study with this famous wise man. I love this story. So he builds all these churches and these schools and all these things, and he goes to the famous wise man and he says, "Look what I've built for you, so that I can prove myself humble enough to be your student. Am I worthy?" The wise man looks at him and he says, "You'll never be worthy," and then walks away. As much as Disney is all about making money, or you might think that we're all about making money, the fact is that if you look at the history, Walt never wanted to make money with it. This was just a natural thing he wanted to do. This thing that's brought joy to so many people was just this natural, magical thing that he wanted to make. And yeah, there's weird stories. I love the weird. I mean, what can I say? I'm built with a love of the weird. But overall, it's the movies are the head of the company. Pixar, all that other jazz. Pixar, Marvel, etc. It's the heads. The parks are the heart. And, you know, I joke around a lot, but it really is a magical place and the most magical company in the world to work for. We love you, Disney. And everybody remember, unforgettable happens at Disneyland in an important way.